This is my follow-up review to Star Trek. I apologize. This will be the last video ever probably about Star Trek. But people wanted me to make a follow-up video. Also, I got criticized a lot. I should have been much more on the ball and articulating my ideas instead of this rambling rant that I made in the last video. What I was really, first and foremost, just kicked off the movie for me, which really made it kind of frustrating, was the whole supernova thing and the fact they didn't know it was going to happen, and then all of a sudden, Spock is racing across the galaxy to stop it. Like, they didn't know how to happen. It was completely implausible, and it wasn't even really an important way to kick off the thing. All they needed is a revenge motive, much like Wrath of Khan. And the movie itself is just really a poor version of Wrath of Khan in a lot of ways. It's just a revenge film in its essence. I didn't like it, and it just gave me a sour note to start the movie off on. All right. Secondly, I think the quote by Roger Ebert is pretty much encapsulates why I didn't like the movie and why he didn't like the movie. So let me read that. The Gene Roddenberry years, when stories might play with the questions of science, ideals, or philosophy, have been replaced by stories reduced to loud and colorful action. Like so many franchises, it's more concerned with repeating a successful formula than going boldly where no Star Trek has gone before. And this is basically, in a nutshell, what I hate about the superhero, I call this the Jurassic Park syndrome, this kind of CG attempt to make more and more elaborate kind of action scenes that really don't really weave into much of a story. It was just kind of one adrenaline rush after another, and this is a formula that really has taken over Hollywood over the last 10 or 15 years, and just seems to getting more and more and more kind of this adrenaline rush where it really doesn't make you think, or like I was saying, like the philosophy of Star Trek really is just left on the sidelines, and it's just this kind of colorful joyride, which I don't give my money to. I avoid movies like this. I like action films in general if they're done well. Obviously, Die Hard or Wrath of Khan. I went back and taped Wrath of Khan and watched it because I hadn't seen it in probably 10 or 15 years. Much better film, much more in the theme of Star Trek. I mean, it's a little bit unfair to compare them because you have the entire original series that leads into Wrath of Khan. It's based on an episode of the original Star Trek series. With a lot of the same characters, so you care a little bit more about these people, but that's still no excuse. I really didn't care about any of the characters. The Spock character was the new Spock. It was decent and probably the most elaborate. The rest, they were just thrown together. There's one after another. Didn't care. There was no backstory. I mean, so by the end of the movie, you didn't care the Star Trek ship, the Enterprise blew up or not. So it was extremely frustrating because I just felt like, oh, here's a new character. Oh, remember this character. Oh, we got to have this character. I mean, why do it all in one movie? It doesn't make any sense. It's complete. It's a complete setup for like more movies that are going to be based on this kind of Jurassic Park joyride, but really not really delving into anything. You can just tell. You can tell that J.J. Abrams didn't really care about Star Trek. He just wanted to make another formulaic film. The fact that it's getting raving reviews to me is just baffling. Again, that's maybe what's most outrageous about this to me, is that I felt like I was kind of tricked into it by these great reviews. I mean, just glowing, the best review Star Trek has ever gotten probably, and it just didn't go anywhere. Didn't do it for me. It's just lowbrow. I hate to say it, lowbrow film. It's what's a problem with movies in America today, or at least a large subset of them. And I don't want to spend my money on that kind of stuff, and I felt duped. So anyway, that's why I didn't like Star Trek, and hopefully they'll never make another one of those motherfuckers.